Hello and welcome to our Nativity Devotionals. I am Pastor Jim Devore from Cornerstone Church of Littlerock in Southern California. So glad to have you with us. We have been enjoying every moment of our Nativity Devotionals. We are simply taking a look at the birth of Christ through the lens of Scripture as we take a look at the Nativity and what God has done as he brought himself in human flesh in the form of Jesus. And so we are just excited to be able to bring this to you. As we've been doing that, we've also been sharing with you pictures and nativity scenes and pictures of nativity scenes that people have sent in from our congregation as a way just of enjoying these nativity devotionals as you're watching them and listening to them. We are on the 19th devotional. We are at December 19th. If you've been following on a daily habit. And it just so happens that we're on Luke chapter 2, verse 19. I could not have planned this if I wanted to, though 2:19 is our theme verse. So the 19th on the 19th, that's pretty good. I'm excited about that. Here is Luke 2:19. But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. That is our theme verse. Every time we've looked at this, we've kind of looked at the things about the birth of Jesus that we should treasure and ponder. Today, we want to just kind of guess, maybe make some assumptions as to what Mary was treasuring and pondering. Well, it says, but Mary treasured up all these things. Well, the immediate of these things would be the shepherds arriving and telling her all about the angel's visit. There is I've already mentioned it once. I'm going to mention it again. If you Google the Chosen Christmas special, you will come up with a 20-minute wonderful presentation of the shepherds and Christmas. And there is a scene in there when they burst into the manger. Joseph jumps up to defend his wife and new baby, thinking they're going to be attacked. And the shepherds, you could see them they're just talking about the angels and they're so excited about it. And then Joseph relaxes and understands what's going on and steps back and allows them to see the baby. So it says Mary treasured up all these things. So immediately, what is Mary treasuring? Well, she is certainly treasuring up the shepherds' arrival, because this verse comes after the shepherds have left and begin to spread the news to so many other people. So she's treasuring up the shepherds' arrival, the shepherds' statement of the angel. She must have treasured the idea of having angels announce the birth of her son. What a blessing that was. But we could certainly go back farther than that and also just look at other things that Mary would have treasured. She would have treasured the first angel visit of her own when Gabriel came and told her some 9 and almost 10 months ago that she was going to conceive and give birth to a child, and that child would be named Jesus. Certainly she was treasuring in that and pondering that visit. And then probably she pondered just her trip to see Elizabeth and finding out that just as promised, Elizabeth too was pregnant. And then the event of the baby in Elizabeth, who was to be John the Baptist, leaping in its mother's womb because of the arrival of the Messiah in the womb of its mother. Great news to ponder. Surely she must have treasured and pondered when Joseph, who initially planned on divorcing her because she was great with child and it wasn't his child, and then he was visited by an angel. Imagine Mary treasuring and pondering when Joseph comes to her and says that he too had an angel visit in a dream, and he would now take her as his wife and help raise the child. What treasuring and pondering. Their trip to Bethlehem and then God's provision and providence to watch over them during that trip, things that you want to treasure and ponder. And Mary must have just gladly and with great wonder did that as well. What are some other things that they would have treasured and they would have pondered? Well, just the arrival in Bethlehem and finding themselves in a manger. I mean, we get a sense that Mary, there's no words of complaint from Mary. So even from being bumped from an inn or a place to stay to a manger didn't seem to be something that was worthy of complaint or frustration. So she can look back at where God placed her to have this baby. She can treasure and ponder the child itself. And what a beautiful thought that is. That's why I like this picture so much right here. It seems to be a grand picture of Mary just treasuring the child being her child, because Jesus was her child. Okay, she could enjoy the fact that it was the woman who provided the man portion, the human flesh portion of the arrival of Jesus. And so that is that she can ponder that this is her own child, okay, and flesh of her flesh, as he is born, and yet it's also God's child. It's God Himself, and so she can ponder as any mother would the her own baby boy before her very eyes. Yes, Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart, which is exactly what we need to do, as we've been saying. But you know what? This takes time. Kind of interesting. The shepherds, they blow in and blow out. I mean, you get the impression they come flying in, they tell the news of the angels, they took a look at the baby, and they blow out to tell everybody. Not a whole lot of time to stop to ponder. Certainly they treasured, but they treasured in their own way. They treasured by going out and telling the good news. Mary treasured and pondered by just sitting and enjoying. We kind of get that picture with another Mary in Scripture. When we get to Mary and her sister Martha, who Jesus comes to visit when he's an adult, and Mary sits at the feet of Jesus and listens to his teaching and is so glad just to be with him. And Jesus says, this is the genuine thing. This is the good thing to do. This is what is right. And so again, we see God commending the idea of treasuring and pondering the things of God. Now, we can't do only those things. We can't just treasure and ponder. We do have to be shepherds as well. But sometimes we just need to stop and enjoy the fact of all that God has done for us. God is pleased when we take time to do that. That is something we need to do. We need to realize that every good and perfect gift comes from above, from the Father of lights. So you need to treasure and ponder the good things in your life. You might want to do that at the close of this year. Take some time with family and friends and just treasure what he's done in the last year. We have a thankful jar at our house, and in that jar we have this we put things throughout the year that we're thankful for. Then at the end of the year or the beginning of the new year, we pull out those things. They could be receipts from a special event. They could be a note we left each other. It could be a Bible verse that stood out. It could be a picture of something or some commendation that one of the kids got or that we got. And we just go through and we thank God for those various things. And what are we doing? We're treasuring and pondering the things of God in our life. We have to be deliberate in doing that. You and I need to be deliberate. I get the sense that Mary was very deliberate in her treasuring and pondering, and we need to be deliberate as well. Again, that's not all we do. We do have to do the sharing and spreading the news, but we need to spend, I think the more time we spend treasuring and pondering the things of God, the easier it will be for us to spread the news about the things of God. Thanks again for joining us. I just so enjoyed sharing this devotional with you today, and join us again tomorrow as we now begin to see some other things that take place in the life of this young baby Jesus as we can continue our Nativity Devotionals. God bless you and Merry Christmas.